In this video, I'm going to show you 5 Claude Code skills and rank which ones are actually worth installing. I ranked all 5 skills by the problem that they solve, how useful they are, and how easily you can test them. A Claude skill is basically a packaged set of instructions that changes how Claude approaches a task. You're giving Claude a different way to work. So let's get into it. Number 5 is Agent Reach. Agent Reach connects Claude with platforms including X, Reddit, YouTube, and GitHub. Claude can research across several platforms without you constantly switching between tools. That makes sense when one project genuinely depends on information from several different places. You could inspect a GitHub repo, compare Reddit discussions, check X, and pull information from YouTube. But most people are not researching 4 platforms at the same time. They are working inside one repo, checking one source, or completing one specific task. More sessions may help, but they also make the session harder to control. So if cross-platform research is central to your work, Agent Reach could remove a lot of the friction. Number 4 is Loop Library. You probably know the problem this skill is trying to fix. Claude completes part of a task, produces something acceptable, and confidently says the job is finished. You are left completing the final 20% yourself. Loop Library gives you reusable prompts designed to keep Claude working until it reaches the defined finish condition. That could mean continuing until every test passes or every requirement on a checklist is completed. Claude often stops when the answer looks acceptable, even though the job is not actually finished. Loop Library makes most sense for debugging, research, writing, and tasks that need several passes. It is less useful when the task is subjective and Claude has no clear way to know when it is finished. Number 3 is PX Pipe. PX Pipe types one of the biggest problems in long Claude Code sessions. Context becomes expensive. Claude keeps receiving files, screenshots, logs, instructions, and previous outputs. The context window becomes more crowded as the project grows. You can end up spending more tokens reminding Claude about the work than completing it. PX Pipe is designed to convert bulky context into images instead of repeatedly sending everything as raw text. The headline claim is up to 70% fewer tokens. If you run long Claude Code sessions every day, even a smaller reduction could make a meaningful difference. So this skill is more likely to be helpful on larger builds, visual projects, and long sessions that repeatedly review the same information. However, for a small project, PX Pipe may add another layer that you don't actually need. PX Pipe ranks 3rd on my list because cost matters more after the workflow is under control. So number 2 on my list is Taste. Taste is designed to push Claude away from the generic looks seen across many AI-generated interfaces. You know the style, the same gradients, the same oversized heading. Claude can generate a working interface very quickly, but working doesn't mean that it's always well designed. So Taste tries to improve the design choices behind the output. This is one of the easiest skills to test. Give Claude the same design brief and test it with and without Taste. Then compare the results. Does the layout feel more intentional? Is the typography better? And does it look like a real product built for a specific use case? You can tell pretty quickly whether Taste improves the result or not. But remember, Taste will not replace an experienced designer, but it could give Claude a better starting point than the usual AI-generated patterns. Number 1 on my list is Superpowers. Superpowers gives Claude a structured workflow for planning, building, reviewing, and checking its own work. It has been described as an operating system for Claude, but I would describe it more simply as some way of stopping Claude from jumping straight right into the build. This skill matters because Claude often looks impressive early, but creates more work later. The usual pattern with AI coding goes something like this. Claude starts building immediately. It makes assumptions before properly understanding the task. Halfway through the project, it discovers an early decision created problems everywhere. Claude then has to backtrack, rewrite files, and use more context fixing up work that should have been picked up in the planning stage. Superpowers is designed to slow that jump into execution. It encourages Claude to understand the task, break it into stages, complete the work, and then review what it's produced. It can then correct problems before going down the wrong path. And this is why Superpowers ranks 1st on my list. Taste may create the fastest visible improvement. PXPipe may deliver the clearest cost savings. Loop Library may keep Claude working for longer, and Agent Reach may give Claude access to more information. But those benefits matter less when Claude is following the wrong path. So if you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to subscribe and follow for more Claude related videos. I'll see you in the next one.